Hello, my dear students. Welcome back. I hope you all are doing well. Yes, myself, Mr. Jayadarji, and today we are going to start with chapter number 12. Very important chapter, that is theory of income and employment. Board point of view, exam point of view, term point of view, preliminary point of view, the most important chapter is theory of income and employment. And also it is going to be very easy. Yes. So let's begin with the chapter. The chapter says theory of income and employment, but before that, let us understand what is demand. We of course know about the demand, that was individual demand. Here we are doing the macroeconomic concept, the economy of whole country together. So that is aggregate demand, not the individual demand, right? So here let us understand the aggregate demand, the total demand of the country. That is aggregate demand is equals to C plus I plus G plus X minus M. What is it? X minus M. Where C stands for consumption expenditure, right? I stands for investment expenditure. So C, that is consumption, is done by households and investment is done by firms. Yes, is it clear? Now after that is the government expenditure, the expenditure done by the government, and X minus M is nothing else but your net exports. What is it? Net exports. Now let us assume that the economy over here is the closed economy. Which economy? Closed economy, where exist only two sectors in the economy. So it's going to be aggregate demand is equals to consumption plus investment. So which are those two sectors over here? It is household and firms. Okay. So what is aggregate demand? Please remember, this is going to be helpful to us in the further classes. Aggregate demand is equals to C plus I. ठीक है, इसको दिमाग में एक जगह स्टोर करके रख दो. एग्रीगेट डिमांड इज इक्वल्स टू कंजम्पशन प्लस इन्वेस्टमेंट. ओके, अब ये जो डिमांड है, एग्रीगेट डिमांड है, उसको दो पार्ट्स में डिवाइड करते हैं. दैट इज एक्स एंटे डिमांड एंड एक्स पोस्ट डिमांड. व्हाट इज इट? एक्स एंटे डिमांड मीन्स द डिजायर्ड डिमांड ऑफ द कंट्री. पूरे कंट्री में डिजायर्ड कि भाई इतना डिमांड करने की इच्छा लोग रख रहे हैं. एंड एक्स पोस्ट डिमांड मीन्स इतना डिमांड लोग एक्चुअल में कर रहे हैं. पीपल आर एक्चुअली डिमांडिंग दिस मच इन द इकोनॉमी. ठीक है, दैट इज माय एक्स एंटे एंड एक्स पोस्ट डिमांड. वापस आते हैं चैप्टर के नाम के ऊपर. व्हाट इज द चैप्टर नेम? थियरी ऑफ इनकम एंड एम्प्लॉयमेंट. Now suppose my income was 100. What am I going to do with this 100 rupees? I will consume certain part. Suppose मैं क्या करता हूँ, 80 rupees खर्चा कर लेता हूँ. क्या करता हूँ? 80 rupees खर्चा. So that 80 rupees is going to be my consumption. What is it going to be my consumption? तो बचे हुए 20 रुपए का क्या करूँगा? 20 रुपए में सेव कर रहा हूं. क्या कर रहा हूं? सो दैट इज माय सेविंग्स. व्हाट इज इट? माय सेविंग्स. सो नॉर्मल टेंडेंसी टू स्पेंड मनी आउट ऑफ इनकम. नॉर्मली हाउ मच ऑफ माय इनकम आई एम कीपिंग असाइड और डेडिकेटिंग फॉर कंजम्पशन. दैट इज माय एवरेज propensity to consume. What is it? Average propensity to consume. कि भाई मेरी इनकम में से how much part I am keeping aside for consumption. So that is my average propensity to consume is equals to consumption upon income. What is it? Consumption upon income. Okay. So what about this savings? Out of my income, how much part I am keeping up aside for savings? That is going to be my average propensity to save. What is it? Average propensity to save. Okay. Now suppose if my income changes from 100 to 200 and I change my consumption, 200 रुपया कमा रहा हूँ, out of that 120 I am spending. So remaining 80 rupees I am saving. How much I am saving? 80 rupees. So suppose out of this income, how much I am consuming? 120. And how much I am saving? 80. But because of change from 100 to 200, because my income changed by 100, how much additional consumption did I take? 40. Kitna additional consumption kiya? 40. And how much additional did I save? 60. Now that portion over here, because of change in income, how much I am ready to consume or save, that is called as marginal propensity to consume. MPC is equals to change in consumption upon change in income. How much did my income change? 100. How much did my income change? 100. And how much did my consumption change? 40. So how much I tend to change my consumption because of change in income? 0.4. हर बार 100 रुपए बढ़ने की वजह से मैं 40 रुपए एक्स्ट्रा कंज्यूम करना चाहता हूँ. 100 रुपए इनकम बढ़ी, बिकॉज ऑफ चेंज इन इनकम 100, माई कंजम्पशन चेंजेस 40. ओके, so that is called as marginal propensity to consume. And marginal propensity to save, MPS, is equals to change in saving upon change in income. How much did my savings change? 60. How much did my income change? 100. So मैं कितना additional savings कर रहा हूँ? 0.6. Okay. Now if we see one thing, MPC plus MPS is equals to 1. 0.4 plus 0.6 is 1. Okay, this is a very important keynote to be remembered. I hope this is clear all of you. Now going ahead to consumption function, derivation of consumption curve. But before that, consumption is equals to, yes, of course, it depends on my income. So I'll write consumption is equals to function of y. Function of y, that it says that consumption depends on income. जैसे जैसे मेरा income बढ़ता है, my consumption also increases. But even if there is zero income, there is some part of consumption we need to consume for our basic needs, and that is called as autonomous consumption. What is it called as? Autonomous consumption. Okay, everyone? It is autonomous consumption. So, consumption is C is equals to A. A is your autonomous consumption plus consumption which is induced by income. Okay? That means as and when my income goes on increasing, my consumption also goes on increasing. That is called as induced consumption. What is it called as? Induced consumption. C of Y. That is the income, that is a consumption which depends on our income. This is my formula for consumption. This is my formula for consumption. As in when my income goes on increasing, my consumption also goes on increasing. But along with that, I have autonomous consumption as well. I have autonomous consumption as well. So that is called as C is equals to A plus C of Y. Now, suppose if I draw a curve. Over here, this is my origin, but my consumption does not start from origin, because even if I write my income over here and my consumption over here, even at zero level of income, I had certain point of consumption. That was my autonomous consumption. So it starts from point A. It starts from point A. This is my income curve. It is a 45-degree curve because a fixed proportion it goes on increasing. Okay. So as in now what happens? Of course, this portion what I got, that is my autonomous consumption. Even at zero income, I have certain level of consumption, that is autonomous consumption. But now the second part, CY, that means as and when the income increases, the consumption also has to increase. So if I draw a curve like this, okay, so now this is my consumption is equals to A plus C of Y, consumption based on income, okay. As and when the income increases, the consumption also increases over here. Now, important thing for us to understand, here at zero level of income, I was having certain consumption. As and when the income rises, the consumption rises. Now, if my income was 100, it went to 200. Consumption was 80, it went to 120. How much did my income change? 100. How much did my income change? 100. Against that, how much did my consumption change? So please remember that always whenever your income rises, consumption does not rise in the same proportion. By a calm insan, normal person, he will not spend all of his income, whatever he or she is increase in income. Until and unless वो जैसा है, मेरा जितना इनकम बढ़ता है उससे ज्यादा मैं अपना खर्चा बढ़ा देता है, ठीक है. But that's a different thing. Normally what happens, a normal person does not, जितना increase in income हुआ उससे कम ही उसका consumption बढ़ेगा. So one thing to remember over here is your consumption will always be less than 1. मतलब जितना आपका change in income हुआ है ना, how much your change in income is, उससे कम आपका consumption होगा. But of course it is going to be more than 0. It is going to be more than 0. So it says that your consumption will always be more than 0. तो हम कितना कंज्यूम करेंगे, जितना इनकम बढ़ रहा है उससे तो ज्यादा ही करेंगे. So it is going to be 0. ठीक है, इनकम चेंज हो रहा है उससे कम यहाँ पे. ओके, सो 0 कंजम्पशन इज गोइंग टू बी मोर देन 0 एंड लेस देन 1 over here. I hope so this part is clear to everyone over here. Now let's move to the next thing, that is the saving function. What is it? Saving function. Now what happens in saving function? Saving is equals to income minus consumption. Saving is equals to income minus consumption. Again we are aware about, suppose at 0 level of income I was having certain amount of consumption. So at that time my savings was in negative. My saving was in negative because always it is going to happen, if at 0 income I am consuming something, so that goes to my dis saving. So my savings will be in negative in the beginning. At one time it will be 0 and then it goes to positive. Okay, so this is my saving function. This is my saving function. If we see over here, okay, so my change in income and change in saving has to be always same. ठीक है, in fact I will save more. I tend to save more. If my income changes by 100 ना, तो 100 के सामने proportionately जितना consumption changes उससे ज्यादा my saving is going to change. Okay, उससे ज्यादा my saving is going to change. I hope this is clear to you. Okay, now let us derive one curve for both together. That means derivation of consumption and saving curves both together. Now this is my income. My consumption starts from here. Now in the beginning my consumption is more than income, that's why my savings I start over here. Okay, but at this point my income is equals to consumption, so at that point saving is going to be 0. What happens? Saving is going to be 0, and after that my income is more than consumption, so from here the saving starts. Okay, so I will be drawing it something like this. This is my saving curve. Okay, this is my saving curve. Okay, this is, we are deriving the consumption and savings curve, both of it together. Okay, यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है, ये इनकम है, consumption is more than income, so savings will be negative. At one point where consumption is equals to savings, income, there savings will be zero. Okay, after that उसके बाद income is more than consumption, so savings positive में हो जाता है. क्या हो जाता है, savings go into positive. So yes, my dear students, I hope the concept what we have done till here is pretty much crystal clear to all of you. Further, we will be doing this chapter, the sums and the multiplier and the equilibrium, everything in the next part. So stay tuned for the next part. Thank you so much, my dear students.